What is up, guys? I'm going to be going over UFC 325, giving my picks and predictions. Volkanovski versus Lopes 2. Let's get right into this card. It's kind of trash, bro. I'm not going to lie. I need Bobby Knuckles on this shit. Where's Bobby Knuckles at, bro? He needs to fight in New Zealand. But I'm going to get straight into the main event right away. You know, the rematch, I don't think that Diego deserves this at all. But it's here. They're going to fight. It's whatever at this point. You know, I already made a video on what I think about it. But I just think Volkanovski is going to have a masterclass. Better than the first performance. You know, he did have a little bit of a tricky time in some moments with, you know, the pressure style of Diego Lopes. But, you know, I think it's going to work out better for him this time. He's going to be able to implement his game a little bit better with the jabs and maybe use a little bit more kicks this time when he's more careful, put more damage on Diego early. And I feel like he should be able to cruise to a nice decision or late rounds finish, but most likely decision because, bro, old man Volk has no finishing capabilities. I feel like I just don't see him. You know, maybe if it's in the ground and pound and he could kind of blanket over Diego and just land a lot of ground and pound, but other than that, I do not see him finishing him. You know, no submissions either. So, you know, Lopes is definitely dangerous. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not that, you know, he's completely trash or whatever, but the skill difference is insane. And I just don't see it being a better performance for him this time around. Like, it didn't look like in his fight against Gene Silva, he improved to the amount where you'd be like, he could beat Volk. You know what I mean? He was getting touched up a lot. His head movement didn't look any better. You know, that's what's something that was surprising with Volk in the first fight is that he was able to, you know, have success in the inside boxing because of his head movement. Volk was able to, you know, get his head off the center line, and that gave Diego problems inside. You know, on those exchanges on the inside, Volk won those because Diego could not get his head off the center line. So, you know, I think that if Volk can mix in the takedowns a little bit better this time, I feel like when Diego was kind of crashing in a little bit, he can go for, you know, a double leg in that situation and use his traditional wrestling rather than, you know, when he's behind the black line, shooting takedowns there. I feel like that works out a little bit better for Diego just because, you know, his stature, he's a little bit bigger, and I feel like taller fighters do have a little bit more success defending the takedowns up against the cage. But if Volk can do it in the middle when Diego's really pressuring him, I feel like he could find those takedowns very easily and get some good ground and pound there. I feel like if Volk can damage up Diego's face really early, because we know Volk could just put so much damage on his opponent's faces. Like, we've seen it every single fight. He's able to just cut them up because his jabs are so good. And, you know, this is just the game for him. He needs to just mix up everything so well, which he always does. And I feel like he could do even better. You know, most of the time in these rematches, the most technical fighter goes ahead and wins better the second time. And we've seen Volk in rematches other than the Islam Makhachev. We are not talking about that. We are not talking about that. Other than that, he's done very well in rematches. He's able to adjust and, you know, have a great fight. And I just feel like the style that he has now, he'll be able to dismantle Diego. And I think Diego being a little thicker in this fight is not going to help him because, you know, the cardio. And I feel like he's going to try to mix stuff up more, maybe even mix in takedowns. And he might gas a little earlier. I feel like, you know, the reason we were able to see him have a little bit more success in like round 4 is because he didn't throw a lot of volume at all. He was not landing more than 15 strikes a round and everything. And that definitely helps you when you're going into the later rounds. And yeah. Volk is dominating. I feel like Volk is going to dominate in this one, 50-45, maybe even a 10-8 round in there if he could get some ground and pound in on some of these shots. But yeah, bro, I'm gonna pick Volk decision masterclass. We love you, Volk. Please win. If Volk loses, this is so bad for the division. I feel like just because, like, I feel like why are you putting him up against the most dangerous guy when you already beat him? But hey, man, regardless of that. On to the next one. I'm actually going to look at this card a little bit just because, bro, this shit is mad interesting. Look at these early prelims. They imported these guys all from every Asian country and just randoms. Literally, like 2 days ago before they had the photo shoots and everything, all these pictures were white. You know, a lot of these fighters have their first fight in the UFC, but I'm not going to be going over them. I'm going to be completely honest, bro. Those are actual government implanted NPCs, Apex, future Apex prelim, 3 fights in the UFC fighters. I am not going to go over that shit. I just do not care about them. I'm not going to lie. We have some decent fights on here, but let's be honest, card is trash. Card is complete trash. You know, some of these fights here, bro, all of these are trash. All the prelims are cooked. Main card is okay, but bro, we have Tai Tuivasa. Bro got up to 350 pounds. I don't know if you guys saw. He was chunky as fuck. He was like, bro, he was Kelvin Gastelum maxing, bro. Legitimately, it was so bad. Yeah, and Killian Saliked, I feel like, bro, he's up and coming. He's good, but bro, are we really gonna have him as the opening for this? I feel like he's maybe a future prelim or whatever. But hey, it's whatever. I'm gonna get into Dan Hooker, Benoit Saint Denis. I am gonna pick Benoit Saint Denis by submission in this fight or ground and pound TKO. I just think that his pressure style is gonna be able to, dismantle Dan Hooker. I feel like the damage that Dan Hooker has taken, and I'm not too heavy on his striking either. I feel like people overrate his striking just because he went to war with, Dustin Poirier. But, if you really look at it, he was getting outstruck by Arman Tsarukyan. Don't get me wrong, Arman has great striking, but he doesn't really have too impressive a striking. Not too much pop in his shots, too many injuries. Broke his hand really badly last year, and broke his nose in the Arman fight. His eye was all fucked up. So I really just look at this and just be like, I think BSD could just find, a takedown. And I even think in the striking, Benoit Saint Denis could find a lot of success because I think he could back up Dan Hooker a lot and, use body kicks. And we've seen in fights previous, Dan Hooker is not too good at defending body kicks and head kicks and things like that from the rear side. And I definitely think that could be a big problem for him. It's going to be interesting. We've seen him against Edson Barboza. He got messed up in the body. Obviously, Benoit is not the same level as him, but, it's just going to be interesting to see how, he could do on the feet. I think, obviously, the only way he could win this is on the feet. I also think that the problem with Dan Hooker is he finds, sometimes he goes for unnecessary reversals in the wrestling when he should just try to get back up to the feet. Even in the Arman fight, and Arman is a great grappler. Why go to grappling exchanges with him and try to, go for the guillotine and go for things like that, or go for his back? Just go to strike with him. That's your only path to victory. I feel like if he makes a mistake like this in this fight as well, it's just not. It's going to be even worse for him because I feel like Benoit Saint Denis is going to look for ground and pound even more than Arman. Even though Arman's ground and pound is probably the best in this division, I just don't think that he was really trying to go for it. I think he was, going for the submission more in that fight. But I think Benoit Saint Denis can, use some chain wrestling, use some cage wrestling up against the cage and find some ground and pound, hurt him easily. And it's just not going to be good for him, bro. It's not going to be good for him. Benoit Saint Denis, bro, schizophrenic timeline for Benoit Saint Denis, bro. We are going to win the belt. No, I'm playing. Benoit Saint Denis is not touching the belt. He's going to be top 5 after this fight, though. And, it's going to be interesting to see who, if he wins this, which I think he is, who he's going to go up against next, because he could be in the talks for a Charles Oliveira fight after this. Because you look at it, he might be 5th or 6th in the rankings after this. And I feel like I want to see Dan Hooker and Paddy Pimblett fight. That leaves him the loser of one of these, big title fights or whatever, and Justin's retiring. So you got to put him up against somebody. And I think that guy is Charles Oliveira after he loses to Max Holloway. I'll make a video on that soon. But, bro, I think BSD schizophrenic timeline, top 3 fighter in lightweight somehow after the Dustin Poirier knockout. That was fucking crazy. Now that Dustin's not here, bro, the division's open for him. Division's over. Nah. Ilya would do bad things to Benoit Saint Denis. I don't even want to talk about that because I do love Benoit Saint Denis, but that shit would not work out well at all. But yeah, bro, I'm going to say round 2 TKO or submission for Benoit Saint Denis. I think, even if he used the ground and pound, he'll find the submission through that or vice versa. Whatever it is, I feel like he's going to win on the ground. On to the next one, Rafael Fiziev versus Rufi. I'm going to pick Rafael Fiziev, bro, because I just think that Rufi shows a lot of flaws when it comes to the mixing of the arts, and also when the fight gets deeper in the rounds, he can struggle a little bit. And I do think that, you know, Fiziev's going to be able to use the wrestling. His takedowns are slick, and I think he could find some good shots, even if it's Rufi throwing more kicks or whatever and he catches one. I think that Fiziev is going to be able to, you know, play patient. We saw in the Bahamundas fight, he was able to use that to his advantage. And, I definitely think this will be a very interesting one, but I will pick Fiziev by decision because it's just, I don't think Rufi's striking is as good as we thought it was. And, he did verse a lot of lower level guys. And now I think I'm surprised he's the favorite in this one. Honestly, I think Fiziev can, back him up a little bit. Maybe in the first round it will be a little tricky for him, but I think Fiziev is going to be able to work the body kicks, find some takedowns, and pressure him. And I think Fiziev's gas tank is not good either. We saw in that Gaethje fight he got tired, but I think it is better than Rufi's. I think Rufi, relies on a lot of his flashy techniques. And, the one thing for him is that I could see maybe success with the right cross early on, because that's something that Fiziev has struggled against, defending the right cross and, just being defensively responsible to straight shots like that. But I think he's going to be a little bit smarter. Crafty win last time against Bahamundas, a dangerous guy. And I think, Rufi's a little bit smaller than Bahamundas, even though does have a big frame as well. But I think that Fiziev's going to be able to find this one, also up against the cage. When you back Rufi up, he is a little bit susceptible to strikes. Like, he doesn't have the best defense after you get him to a certain point on the cage. And, his exits are very linear. He doesn't circle out as good as you would expect for a striker of his level. And, I think Fiziev's going to be able to use that against him and, find some good shots, pressure him. Rufi's going to get uncomfortable. Some good takedowns by Fiziev. And, he'll end up controlling him, finding some good shots, finding some good body kicks. And then by the time the second and third comes around, I think that, Rufi's going to be much more tired than Fiziev. I don't think Fiziev's going to do what he did in the first Gaethje fight where he's all out and everything. I think he's going to fight just like how he fought against Bahamundas and pick his shots. And I can see a 30-27 decision, maybe 29-28 on one of the cards. Rufi has a good first or second round or whatever it is. But, yeah, I see Fiziev winning this one pretty easily, but we'll see. That right cross is tricky because Rufi is big and his right cross is really great. So we'll see. On to the next one. Bro, do I even have to talk about this? Tai Tuivasa, Talison Teixeira. Tai Tuivasa, your time has come, bro. Get the fuck out of the UFC. Respectfully, I'm so sick of seeing these blobs, bro. I do not want to see Tai Tuivasa fight. Like, bro, I get the shoey and everybody loves him, but you're done, bro. I can't believe he was about to fight John Jones. Like, he was about to fight John Jones if he beat Cyril Gane. And he had some good success in that fight, but now he's cooked. Took a long layoff, got fat. Your time has come, buddy. You're cooked. I'm gonna pick Talison Teixeira. I think by round 1 or 2 KO. I think this is an easy pick. He's too big, too quick. And he has some good tools. I know he lost against Lewis, and that's a bad loss at this time, just being that Lewis is so old, but it's Derek Lewis, bro. Sometimes he just finds it, bro. And that's what it was for that. But yeah, I think Talison Teixeira should get this done pretty easily. I don't see Tai Tuivasa being as quick as he used to be, and as hungry. And I think it's gonna be a rough night for him. I'm gonna pick Talison Teixeira round 1 or 2 KO. Easy. Sally Kid versus Jamie Malarkey, bro. So I even have to talk about this one either. I'm gonna pick Sally Kid by first round or second round knockout. Same thing as the last one. I just think that Sally Kid's striking is just too good. Hey, man, he said win or lose in this fight, he's going to become racist, which, bro, I'm not even going to comment on. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. I saw a clip. He was like, if you lose this one, do you become racist? He said yes. So I don't know, man. I'm gonna get on to the next one. This is Bedtime MMA. I didn't know Bedtime MMA was fighting on this card, but bro, this we got him, bro. He got him. He got him. Junior Tafa, Billy Elikana. I'm gonna pick Billy Elikana. I just think his teep kicks up the middle, and his wrestling is gonna be too much for Junior Tafa, and I think that you know the Tafa brothers are cooked. The same thing with like the Tuivasa, bro. Like, bro, you had your time, like you had your little hype in one year, but bro, now it's too much. Like these guys just lose all the fucking time and they keep on putting them on these Australian cards. Like you got to put some actual good Australian fighters on these cards. Like we do not want to see these trash ass fighters anymore. Billy Elikana, I'm gonna pick him by round 2 submission, bro. Like I just don't see Tafa winning this. I can see him like mixing up some boxing and finding a good shot. Like that's the only way I see him really winning. But yeah, I'm gonna pick Elikana by round 2 submission in this one. Cam Rosen versus Cody Brundage. I'm gonna pick Cam Rosen, bro. Cody Brundage is, bro, he's a fraud, and also he's gonna find a new outcome in this fight. He's had draw, win, loss like in his last 5 or something. He's done everything, bro. Like Cody Brundage is so cooked. Why is he in? He is at middleweight, and his record is 11-7-1-1. Why is he in the UFC, bro? What dirt does Cody Brundage have on the UFC, bro? We need to get him the fuck. He better get cut after this fight. Cam Rosen, decent wrestling, decent hands. The taller fighter. Cody Brundage might be stronger in this matchup. I've seen some footage of Rosen, and he doesn't look too strong in some grappling situations, but I think he's just a better technical grappler and better striker. I just think, bro, Cody Brundage is, I don't even know how he's fighting in this division with this record. 11-7-1. Bro, what are we doing, Dana? Yo, Cam Rosen, easy. Submission, whatever it is. Torres Finney versus Jacob Malkoun. I'm picking Torres Finney by control, bro. It's going to be a boring-ass fight, but I'm going to pick Torres Finney. He's just going to be able to hold down Malkoun, bro. We are going to win the middleweight title. Dude, I don't know, man. Like Torres Finney, I don't see him really going anywhere in this sport, but it's cool to see someone like him, fighting in this division, and being that he's 5'8", but somehow Jacob Malkoun is almost the same height as him, which is kind of weird because, bro, Finney just has the muscle on him, bro. I don't even know. Yeah, I think Finney should win this one easily, just by control. 30-27, 29-28, easy control for him. But hey, man, like I think Jonathan Milcliffe is gonna win. Milcliffe is gonna win against Oban Elliott as well. He has some good, good all around MMA game. I was watching some of his fights. Very, smart, and he makes the right decisions in all those situations, striking, grappling. He just knows how to find himself in dominant positions. Should win this one. I think I'm going to pick him by TKO round 2, maybe like ground and pound. But yeah, bro, I just wanted to make a quick one for you guys. This card, it's hard to break it down because it's not really good at all. Like I can't even passionately speak about all these fights because, bro, what the fuck is this? These prelims, this is maybe the worst prelims I've ever seen. Like, we have freaking Giga Chad right here, and like, dude, like, it's bad. It's bad. It really is bad. But hey, man, like, I don't know. I really don't know what to tell you guys. This fight card is really bad. But hey, at least the main card is decent. We're gonna have some good. The last 3 fights are good. We get to watch Sally Kid fight, but other than that, there's not much else to break down. Maybe next card I'll give you guys a more in-depth breakdown. Let me know if you guys want that. Just wanted to make a quick one for you guys. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.